Sinister Secrets of Jurassic Rebirth. 100 Cursed Prisoners Haunted by Terrifying Ancient Beasts. Sarah stepped into the looming shadows of the Harlow State Penitentiary, a fortress choked in darkness, its crumbling brick walls whispering secrets of horror long buried. The blood-curdling tales from town stories of anguished cries and shadows that roamed free at night echoed in her mind. The locals called it cursed, a prison for souls tormented by the very beasts they birthed from their sins. It was a place best avoided, yet here she was, searching for a paycheck to put groceries on the table for her kids. With her only source of light flickering unsteadily, the air thick with mildew and decay gripped her throat. She shivered as her flashlight beam danced across the peeling walls, revealing remnants of a bygone era. A creak resounded nearby, and her heart raced. Just the building settling, she told herself. But the sight of darkened hallways ahead, the chill creeping up her spine, made it hard to breathe. Just stay focused, she whispered, the tremor in her voice betraying her bravado. This job had to work, she needed it for Mia and Ethan. Soon enough, the initial anxiety settled into a simmering dread as she wandered deeper into the belly of this wretched beast. Then it came a faint whisper, unsettling and foreign, wrapping around her just as the walls seemed to close in. Footsteps echoed in the distance, too heavy for mere rodents. Her mind reeled, piecing together snippets of ghost stories told to frightened children. The cursed inmates, they said, now wandered the halls of their confinement as wretched beasts, conjuring scenes of terror. She shook her head vehemently. Those stories were just that, stories. But then she stumbled, her boots snagging on something buried beneath the crumbling floorboards. She knelt, fingers brushing cold, dust-covered artifacts strewn across the ground. The surface caught the light, revealing intricate carvings. They pulsed as if filled with a life of their own. Goosebumps prickled her skin, an eerie sensation that this was no ordinary hoard. These items thrummed with untold history, a history intertwined with suffering and rage, whispers begging to be heard. As she inched closer, a dark silhouette flickered in her peripheral vision. Sarah gasped, spinning around, but only silence greeted her. Was her imagination running wild, or was something watching her? The shadows stretched, reaching for her alive, consuming. Panic surged. A chill swept through her thoughts. The stories might be true after all. She had crossed a line disturbing something best left undisturbed. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. A bone-chilling growl echoed from deep within the cell blocks, elastic and hungry. Her body tensed as the shadows twisted grotesquely, drip-fed by her fear. Sarah stumbled back, heart pounding, refusing to turn her back on whatever lurked in the dark. Betrayal weighed thick in the atmosphere. Her coworkers, who had welcomed her, now flickered like ghosts, eyes averted whenever she spoke of the past. What were they hiding? With a chilling shudder, Sarah realized she had awakened something ancient, something that might know her children's names. Fear erupted. Dread cascaded as she recalled Mia playing near the prison's perimeter. The warmth of the sun dipped, and darkness gathered. The walls adorned with grief seemed to whisper secrets meant to remain untold. Could she outrun the terror, the horror clawing closer? Just then, she heard their names echo in the dark. Were they calling for her? The beasts, hungry, haunted her thoughts, beckoning her deeper into the shadows. Time slipped away. Was it too late to protect Mia and Ethan? With shadows closing in, Sarah knew she would have to face whatever horrors awaited her. The air grew heavier, her heartbeat racing. The pulse of something sinister thudded in the distance, drawing nearer. The growl reverberated through the air, vibrating in her bones. Sarah felt as if the very walls were alive, humming with malice, eager to consume her whole. Something was stalking her, using the darkness as its cloak, as its breath became shallow whispers just beyond her reach. Panic clawed at her throat, threatening to suffocate her. "Stay calm, think," she gasped, desperately forcing herself to breathe. An overwhelming need to escape surged through her veins. She darted through the corridor, flashlight bobbing wildly as she turned corner after corner, searching for an exit. But the labyrinth of cells twisted around her like a nightmarish maze, each passage leading her deeper into despair. Strange sounds echoed from the shadows, the chattering of teeth, the scrape of claws against stone. Sarah's heart thundered. She could no longer deny it. She was not alone. The tales had not been mere folklore. She was surrounded by the imprisoned shades of the damned, their grudges woven into the very fabric of the prison. Amid the chaos, she caught a glimpse of something moving just beyond her light. A figure lurked at the edge of her beam, a hulking mass, half hidden under the cover of darkness. Her breath caught in her throat. The stories swirled around her of cursed creatures and ancient curses. What if these beasts were the tortured remnants of souls wronged in death, seeking vengeance? "Who's there?" she called, the command heavy with defiance. But her voice wavered, a fragile thread against the rising tide of fear. Silence lingered, heavy and oppressive, before a low, mocking chuckle broke it. "Foolish woman," it spoke, voice gravelly like stones grating together. "You think you can escape our fate? We are bound to this place, and now, so are you." The air thickened as she stumbled back, the weight of panic amplifying. Shadows crawled closer, darker than darkness itself, teasing just beyond the reach of her light. She flicked the flashlight, but it flickered, grew dim like her hopes of escape. In the corner of her vision, movement, something thin, bony, slithered along the ground. Her mind raced, images of clawed hands and gaping maws filled her head. She turned, lunging toward a nearby door, only to find it locked, a cruel joke. The thing behind her seemed to howl with delight, relishing each moment of her dread. Urgency coursed through her as she scoured her surroundings. A faded mural under layers of grime caught her attention. It depicted scenes of ritual, ancient symbols entwined within. A chilling realization washed over her. What if these relics she had disturbed fed their power? She had stumbled into a terrible nexus of despair, where time itself blurred. Breathless, she reached out, tracing the carvings with trembling fingers. Maybe, just maybe, she could undo whatever she had awakened. Her mind flared with thoughts of Mia and Ethan. She couldn't let them be dragged into this darkness. But as she focused on the symbols, the air thickened again, and the walls groaned ominously. Shadows surged around her like a black tide, rising higher, demanding to be fed. Sarah turned, desperation fueling her. Breaking into a sprint, she surged down the hallway, the growls ringing in her ears, a cacophony that promised death. Each step amplified the dread. Was she running towards salvation or certain doom? Then came a sound that made her blood freeze, a child's laugh, echoing through the corridor, unmistakably familiar. The laughter was innocent, joyous, and utterly out of place in this graveyard of souls. "Mia? Ethan?" she shouted, heart pounding frantically. The darkness shrank at the sound of their names, breathless terror morphing into fierce determination. But the laughter twisted, sinister and mocking. It wasn't her children. The shadows twisted and clawed at her, licking at her heels, and she knew that these were creatures born from despair, stealing her heart in fragments. "Sarah," the laughter cooed, drawing her closer. "Come play with us." She hesitated, every instinct screaming to flee. But she couldn't abandon them. They were out here somewhere. She pressed on as panic and hope weaved a tangled web within her. But as Sarah ventured deeper into the haunted halls, the shadows accelerated around her, and she couldn't shake the gnawing dread that perhaps they didn't just want her. Maybe they wanted something even more precious. Suddenly, a door swung open ahead, an invitation or a trap. The darkness beckoned, whispering secrets that chilled her bones. She stood at the precipice of a choice, to delve deeper into the horrors awaiting her or turn back, risking being swallowed whole by the very monsters she sought to escape. What lay beyond that door? Was she ready to confront the truth behind the sinister whispers? The door creaked ominously as it opened, revealing a pitch-black void that felt alive. Sarah hesitated. The shadows danced at her feet, teasing her to step forward into whatever nightmare awaited. With each moment, The laughter echoed in her mind like a taunt, a wicked reminder of her children. She couldn't just turn away. As she took a step over the threshold, cold air rushed in, slapping her face like a wet cloth. Goosebumps prickled her skin. The darkness enclosed her tighter, suffocating her spirit. The flashlight flickered again, warning her of more than just failing batteries. It was as if the very light she held was fighting against the consuming void. "Come play," the voice whispered again, seductive and mockingly sweet. Sarah steadied her breath. "I'm not afraid of you," she shouted, but the bravado felt fragile, a thin layer of glass ready to shatter. The response was an eerie silence, so profound it resonated in her bones. Stepping cautiously into the room, her light danced across the walls, revealing grotesque murals of twisted creatures and anguished faces. They seemed to writhe against the stone, their expressions locked in perpetual torment. Each figure's eyes followed her, hollow and accusing. She felt their despair ripple around her. Was this their prison too? A loud bang echoed behind her as the door slammed shut, cloaking her in darkness. Panic flooded her veins. She spun around, her flashlight weakening, casting long, trembling shadows that wavered like spirits. "Please!" She trembled. "I just want to find them." Then came the chuckle again, closer this time, echoing around the room like it was in her very mind. "You will find more than them. You will find what lies beneath." What lay beneath? The thought clawed at her. She shifted, trying to keep a grip on her racing thoughts. The floor felt slick beneath her feet, a mixture of stone and something dark that slicked like oil. She squinted into the depths of the shadows where the walls converged into an unnatural darkness. As if answering her unspoken fears, something shifted in the darkness. Shapes flickered like flames behind her, glimpses of eyes burning bright with a hunger that made her stomach lurch. Panic rose again, and instinct took over. She needed to find another way out. She rushed farther into the room, her flashlight illuminating more grotesque depictions, a mural of monstrous beasts tangled together, their sharp claws and fangs obscuring their original forms. It wasn't mere art, it felt like history, like a warning of what had been. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed from the walls, vibrating along the floor. The shadows pulsated and roared. A creature emerged, a massive shape, twisted and writhing, with limbs that stretched and clawed the air. It wasn't like any beast she had ever known. Deep, guttural growls spilled forth, filling the air with the scent of decay and despair. "Run!" the faint echo of a child's voice broke through, twisting her heart. Was that Mia? Adrenaline coursed through her as she turned to flee. But the doorway she had entered was gone, replaced by a seamless wall, smooth and unyielding. She was trapped. The creature lunged, teeth bared, a predator hungry for prey. "Sarah!" The voice came again, haunting yet urgent. "Where are you?" she screamed, each word laced with fear and desperation. Time felt suspended as she faced the looming shadow. But then, a flicker of light, a spark of hope? It shot from the depths, cutting through the suffocating darkness for just a moment. Would it guide her to her children or lead her deeper into despair? In that breathless instant, Sarah realized she had one final choice to make. Would she dive into the heart of the darkness, know the truth behind the sinister whispers, or acknowledge that some truths are better left buried? The shadows shivered in anticipation as she teetered on the brink of a decision. What awaited her beyond that flicker? The answer, wrapped in dark promises, hung in the heavy air as she prepared to face whatever horror lay before her. And blood-chilling laughter erupted from the depths, sending chills racing down her spine. The flicker of light grew stronger, weaving through the dark, a seductive call almost drowning out the growling of the creature behind her. Heart pounding, Sarah felt something primal stir inside her. She had to move. The shadows pressed closer, wrapping around her like icy chains, threatening to pull her into their suffocating embrace. With a deep breath, she pushed forward, reaching for the light, this shimmering hope against the fear that roared in her ears. It cast an eerie glow, illuminating the creature momentarily. Long, gnarled limbs twitched as twisted features morphed in and out of the light's reach. Its intent was clear. It hungered for the warmth of flesh. "Sarah!" The voice called again, clearer. A mother's instinct ignited within her. It had to be Mia. Hold on! She screamed, driven by desperation. She raced toward the light, nearly losing her footing on the slick floor, which felt alive beneath her. The shadows lurked, lunging closely, their fangs glistening. As she neared the source, the light revealed a small alcove tucked into the corner of the room. Without thinking, she squeezed inside. The flash of the light deepened into a steady glow, revealing old stone and the remnants of ancient symbols carved into the walls. It was a sanctuary of sorts, but time was short. The growls of the creature faded slightly, just enough for her to gather her thoughts. They were being fought back. But would it be for long? Mia! She called out, still panting, fighting to calm the whirlpool of panic. Where are you? I'll get you out of here. Mom! The voice echoed faintly, trembling yet filled with the faintest note of hope. Help! We're under the floor. Under the floor? The walls felt again as if they had ears, the whispers swirling like smoke. Sarah's instincts kicked in. She knelt, hands trembling as she pressed her palms against the cold stone. The jagged surface felt odd, almost pulsating under her fingers. What were they hiding? She raked her nails along the edges, feeling for seams or loose stones. Suddenly, the ground gave way beneath her, crumbling slightly under pressure. A rush of air filtered through the crevice, carrying her children's frightened breaths. The shadows stirred with renewed interest as if sensing weakness, creeping closer. Sarah! The voice cried, frantic. Please! Hurry! With a heave, she pushed the stone aside, revealing a narrow passage lined with old roots and dirt. The faint light glimmered further down, shadowy forms writhing along the walls. Terrified, she crawled through, heart racing with each inch deeper into the unknown. Mia! Ben! She forced her voice to stay steady, almost lost amidst the growling that resumed, reverberating against the walls. She pictured them huddled together, lost, scared, but alive. As she inched forward, a low rumble echoed from behind. The creature was back, searching, feral. Mom, we can hear you. Mia's voice cracked, urgency in her words. But the way is blocked. We can't get out. Blocked? The walls behind her shifted, as if aware of her struggle, pressing. She leaned against the roots, twisting to glance behind. The shadows had grown intolerable. She had to act fast. If Mia and Ben were trapped, the creature would find its feast. Stay calm, kids! I'm coming! She clawed through the tight space, heart thunderous, aware of the beast pulling closer. Every breath, every second felt stolen. But then something shifted in front of her. A shape formed, twisting in the shadows another figure. Her breath caught in her throat. Was it friend or foe? Sarah, let us out. The figure hissed, voice soft yet commanding. Join us. The answers lie deeper in the dark as the shadows swirled closer, dragging their dark fingers toward her. Sarah's instincts screamed. No! She shouted defiantly, blind determination gripping her heart. The intoxicating grasp of the void was a dangerous temperature rising, ready to pull her under. Would she step deeper into this treachery and risk everything to save her children, or would the shadows finally have their way? The voice laughed softly, weaving a tapestry of confusion, urging her, promising secrets and lost truths. Sarah hesitated, feeling the darkness beckon like an insurmountable wave, drowning her resolve as the creature lurked just beyond. In the pulsing gloom, uncertainty tightened its grip around her heart. Where did the light truly lead? The shadows danced around Sarah, a chaotic whirl of whispers and gnashing teeth, as she clutched the rough edges of the passageway. With every echo of her children's frantic pleas, a sense of urgency swelled within her, pushing her deeper into the darkness. The figure loomed closer, formless yet tangible, beckoning her to surrender, but fear wrestled with instinct. Stop! She yelled, her voice ringing out against the cold stone walls. I have to find my kids! The figure shifted, eyes glimmering like dead stars. You wouldn't save them alone, it hissed, an unearthly sound that spilled like smoke into the air. Join us, embrace the darkness, and you will find them. Sweat slicked her palms, her grip faltering against the damp stone. The growls were louder now, a cacophony surging from behind like a tidal wave. The insistent gnawing whispers of the shadows tugged at her resolve, tempting her with promises of hidden power and knowledge buried in the darkness. But what would it cost? Mia! Ben! She turned to shout for them, but a surge of stinking air rushed in from all sides. The shadows writhed, coiling tighter, eager to ensnare her. Each breath filled her with dread, and she felt her panic clawing up her throat, threatening to drown her. "Mom!" came Mia's voice, clearer now, laced with a fierce urgency. It cut through the chaos like a knife. "The way is getting worse." The creature at the ground beneath Sarah trembled as the creature's growls echoed, shaking the very passage she crawled through. Shadows flicked back momentarily, and for a brief second, fear changed to resolve. She bared her teeth, determination racing through her veins. She wouldn't let them down. "I will find you!" she screamed, her voice now filled with raw power. "I promise!" The figure laughed again, a sound that sent prickles up her spine. "Your children are lost in the tomb of whispers, and you are but a flicker in this endless night. You have no idea what you're facing." As shadows pressed onward, cold coils of darkness snaked around her, twisting tighter. Sarah clawed at the earth, her nails scraping against the roots and dirt. The whispers rose, creating a sinister song that told tales of the damned, of lost souls, and of ancient beasts awakened by her desperate plight. "Mom!" Mia's voice trembled like a fragile thread, tangled deep in the murky echoes. "Mom, it's coming! We're trapped!" Without thinking, Sarah dug deeper into the ground, carving a new path. The stones shifted beneath her fingers, as if they were fighting back, but she pressed on, fueled by love and terror. Sweat dripped into her eyes, blurring her vision, but she saw a soft glimmer further into the darkness. "Mia! Ben!" She surged toward the light, feeling the dark tendrils clawing at her ankles, trying to drag her back. Every ounce of strength was needed now, she couldn't stop. Not when her children were just beyond reach. In that moment, the air shifted again. The shadows shrieked, a sound that chilled her bones, as a thunderous roar erupted from the end of the passage. The creature's breath was hot and rancid, nearly overwhelming. Sarah faltered but caught herself, ready to face whatever horror awaited. "Mia! Ben!" she shouted defiantly, gripping her heart as if it could protect her. The light pulsed ahead, inviting her to step further into its grasp. But what lay waiting beyond the threshold? The voices echoed, twisting in time with the shadows. "Join us, we will prepare you for what comes next." Fear lanced through her. Would she abandon her children to the mercy of the dark? Or would she find the strength to embrace the light, despite the unknown lurking just beyond? The darkness roared, filling the air with a nauseating pulse. She took a step forward into the glow, steeling herself for the confrontation ahead. But as she crossed the threshold, the shadows screamed in rage, the light flickered, and she felt a presence lurch just behind her. Could she escape the creature's clutches in time? And in those final moments, the warmth of the light beckoned. Had she made the right choice? The warmth engulfed Sarah, wrapping around her like a blanket, but it felt wrong, suffocating and false. What should have been salvation morphed into a deadly trap, coiling closer as a whisper slithered around her. "Embrace us with horror," she glanced back. The shadows were writhing, screaming in a language older than time. They clawed at the light, desperate to tear it apart and reclaim her. The tendrils of darkness shifted, morphing into skeletal fingers, reaching for her, yearning. "No!" she shouted, breaking free from the light's pull. She stumbled backward, her heart hammering against her ribcage. "I won't give in!" The shadows recoiled but didn't retreat. Instead, they twisted, forming shapes, faces, and limbs. They were the echoes of lost souls, those who had embraced the dark before her. Each one whispered her name, a chorus of tormented voices drowning her thoughts. "Mia! Ben!" she cried again, ignoring the terror spiraling around her. She sprinted back into the dimness, her instincts flaring. Each step felt heavier, as if the stone beneath her feet tried to swallow her. And then, there it was, the soft glow of light that had beckoned her moments before now flickered weakly. It pulsed in rhythm like a heartbeat, as if warning her that she was running out of time. "Mom!" Mia's voice cut through the chaos, sharper now, layered with panic and desperation. "Here! We're here!" Fear spurred her on, faster, faster. The darkness competed, pulling her with chilling fingers, but Sarah defied it, her spirit becoming a defiant fire. She stumbled into the source of the light, a small cavern opening, just wide enough to crawl through. Loud banging echoed behind her. The creature was close. Sarah's heart raced. There was no more time. She crawled into the cave, gasping as rough edges tore into her skin. The sickness of her surroundings met the sweetness of her children's voices. "Mia! Ben!" She turned back, heart racing. The shadows surged closer, the figures twisting into grotesque forms. Without thinking, Sarah shouted, "I'm coming!" Then she caught sight of Mia and Ben. They were huddled in a corner, eyes wide and terrified. Relief flooded her chest as she lunged forward, grasping their shoulders. "Mom! It's so dark," Ben sobbed, glancing nervously at the wall of shadows closing in on them. "It's okay, I'm here. We'll get out," Sarah urged, her voice trembling but steady. She pulled them closer, their tiny bodies trembling against her. But the shadows were less than meters away, reaching, groping, desperate to reclaim their prey. "Is that the creature?" Mia whispered, her voice barely a thread. Sarah glanced behind her, and her blood turned to ice. The creature was in the cavern entrance now, a massive silhouette blocking the only escape. It grew larger, its eyes glowing with living malice, mouth expanding into a grin that dripped with unseen horrors. "Help me," the creature crooned, its voice melodious and haunting. "No!" Sarah cried, shielding her children, feeling the icy dread creep over her. It was no longer just about her, it was about protecting Mia and Ben. The screams of the damned echoed behind the monster, another layer of horror as the writhing shadows surged forward. They were ready to devour. "Mom, what do we do?" Ben whimpered, trembling. And just as despair began to tighten its grip, Sarah remembered the glimmer of light. Was there still a way? Could they fight? Determined, she faced the creature, a socket of darkness, brimming with hunger. "We will never join you!" And then, the light sparked again, stronger this time, against the encroaching dark. But was it enough? Would it drown out the shadows? Or would they, like countless before, be swallowed into the night? "Hold on!" she shouted, as the shadows coiled tighter, threatening to envelop them all. Something was shifting in the air, a mix of terror and potential. But in that moment of tension and poised fate, a familiar voice echoed, powerful and ancient. Let them go. They belong to the light. And just as the cavern shuddered, Sarah understood that the true fight had just begun. Would they claim their freedom, or would the darkness rule the night? The cavern trembled around them, as if caught in a violent conflict between light and shadow. Sarah felt her heart race with the oppressive weight of fear pressing down on her chest. "Who are you?" she shouted into the darkness, her voice echoing against the damp stone walls. But the voice that had declared their freedom faded, replaced by the howling shrieks of the shadows, a cacophony demanding their flesh and soul. "Mia! Ben! Stay close!" The flickering light began to pulse again, battling against the monstrous silhouette at the entrance. Each flicker felt like a heartbeat, a desperate plea for survival. As the shadows surged forward, Sarah squinted at them, trying to decipher the twisted forms they took. They morphed into faces she almost recognized, loved ones long lost, their mouths shaped into silent cries for help. "Mom!" Mia cried, her grip tightening around Sarah's hand. The creature's grin widened, revealing jagged teeth that dripped darkness. "Join them, sweet children, join me," it sang, its voice clawing at their minds, tempting with promises of eternal rest. "No!" Sarah screamed back, pulling her children closer to her side, shielding them from the nightmarish specter. "I want to let it take you." The shadows swirled faster now, closing in on them. The light flickered, struggling against the encroaching doom. "Hold on," Sarah urged, her voice wavering, but resolve igniting within her. Suddenly, the light surged. It enveloped them, bright and pure, pushing back against the shadows like a primal force of nature. The darkness hissed, recoiling as if struck. The momentum pushed them back, but only slightly. "Don't let go!" Sarah yelled, knowing they needed unity, a bond stronger than fear. As the creature howled in rage, Sarah realized something vital: the light thrived on their love, their memory of one another. She squeezed her children's hands, recalling the joy in their laughter, the warmth of family. "Think of the sun, the warmth, the laughter," she encouraged, her voice growing stronger. "Remember who you are." Mia and Ben's eyes filled with determination. "We remember," they shouted back in unison, their voices more powerful than before. The shadows rippled, wavering under the strength of their bond. But the creature bellowed, a sound that shivered through the walls. "You will perish!" The ground beneath them bucked and trembled. Rocks tumbled from above, shrouded in a thick mist that swirled ominously. "We have to move!" Sarah barked, adrenaline flooding her veins. With their bond shining like a beacon, Sarah shoved ahead toward a flickering light deeper within the cavern. Time blurred, every second feeling like a battle for existence as shadows lashed out at their backs. "I can't," Ben whimpered, tripping on uneven ground. "Get up! We're almost there." Sarah pulled him back to his feet as the creature roared, its breath hot against their necks. Each step left her breathless, the cloying darkness threatening to swallow them whole. When they finally reached the glow, it expanded, warmth wrapping around them like an embrace real and safe. But the shadows writhed violently, churning with malice. The creature surged closer, an amalgam of nightmare and hunger. "Your light won't save you!" it shrieked. With a surge of primal instinct, Sarah pushed her children behind her. "We won't let you take us!" she shouted defiantly, eyes blazing with the flame of desperation. Then the cavern roared, a deep rumble that struck fear into every inch of her body. The shadows convulsed, momentarily stunned. Was the cavern protecting them? The oppressive dark parted slightly, and for a fleeting moment Sarah glimpsed a path leading out, bathed in a golden light. "Run!" she urged, her voice slicing through the chaos. But as they turned to flee, the darkness fought back violently. The choice before them burned vividly: a leap into the bright unknown, or the suffocating embrace of despair. Desperation clawed at her throat. Would they escape the clutches of darkness? Or was this just another illusion, another trap dug deep within the shadows? Taking a breath, she took her children's hands, ready to sprint through the uncertain light that might hold salvation or howling doom. But then, just as they began to move, the ground beneath them shifted again, and a new, powerful whisper slithered into their minds. "Embrace the darkness. You cannot resist. Would they succumb, or find the final path to freedom?" The ground trembled as though alive, an ominous heartbeat echoing beneath their feet. Sarah felt her heart race in time, each thump accompanied by the gnawing whisper that curled like smoke in her mind. Embrace the darkness. The words wound around her thoughts, sticky and suffocating, drowning out the burning light that flickered just ahead. She fought back, a primal instinct surging to the surface. "No! We're not listening to you!" Mama Mia's eyes filled with unshed tears, her small voice trembling. "I'm scared." Utter panic clawed at Sarah's insides, but she refused to let it show. "Stay with me. Focus on the light. Remember the warmth." But doubt clouded the edges of her thoughts, and soon, the glowing path began to flicker, dimming under the heavy weight of despair. The whispered promise of peace felt seductive. Darkness wrapped around them, cold and inviting. It tempted them with visions of quiet, endless nights, that eternal embrace always just out of reach. "Join me." The creature beckoned again, each syllable dripping like venom. Faces twisted, their eyes wide and pleading, ghostly figures surged towards them. "You are weary, sweet children. There is no more fight. Surrender." Ben squeezed Sarah's hand painfully tight, his small fingers trembling. "I don't want to turn into that." "Then don't." Sarah gasped, pulling her son closer, desperately trying to shield him from the creature's hypnotic call. "We can't let it win." Suddenly, the shadows lurched forward, a monstrous wave intent on crushing them. Sarah held her breath, the moment stretching painfully as she searched for a way through the encroaching darkness. The shimmer of the light felt so close yet miles away. "This way!" she cried, pushing through the thick mist that clawed at her skin, resisting every urge to look back. With Mia behind her, she clutched Ben, her heart racing as she ignited her inner strength. "We have to push through!" But the shadows surged, spitting out hushed curses, their mouths forming twisted syllables of torment that slipped into her ears. "You can't escape. You're part of us now." Mocking laughter echoed all around them. The cavern felt smaller, tighter, as if squeezing them like an inescapable vice. The warmth of the path flickered, pulsing as if responding to Sarah's desperation. "Hold on!" she yelled, adrenaline spurring her forward. They could make it. She could see faces in the shadows, faces she thought she had forgotten. Family, friends, mentors, all twisted in despair, reaching out, begging to be saved. But they were not her. Their grasping hands were not just pleas but accusations. "Sarah!" Mia gasped. "It's lying! They need us!" No! She would not be tricked into thinking she could save them. Now, as the shadows shifted and sparked, she realized the truth. They needed her, desperately clawing against the night. She had to believe they had some power over it. "Think of our home!" Sarah shouted desperately. "Think of the sun, the laughter. Remember our last picnic, the way it felt to be together." And then, something shifted in Mia and Ben's expression. Their eyes flickered to life, igniting with resistance. "We won't give up!" They shouted together, a defiant roar against their encroaching nightmare. As they stumbled forward, the light surged again, wild and brilliant. But the shadows, thrashing violently, retaliated. The ground split beneath them, a gaping maw of darkness threatening to swallow them whole. A horrible screech erupted from the creature, as if enraged by their unity. "You think you can escape alone? Join me, and you will know true peace." With one last desperate push, Sarah led Mia and Ben toward the beacon, feeling the presence of something greater rallying around them, a force born from their love and connection, pushing the darkness back. Just then, a blinding flash engulfed them, and the whispering shadows shrieked in agony, dissolving into a smoke that twisted violently like a storm. But within that moment of fragile hope, Sarah's stomach dropped. Now, she was flooded with uncertainty, a bone-deep realization creeping in that this might simply be the eye of the storm. "Did we really escape?" she breathed, watching the darkness writhe at their edges, searching for a crack to spill back into their world. A shiver pulsed through her. They stood at the brink of something terrible. "What comes next?" she whispered, glancing at her children's wide eyes filled with uncertainty. But the answers lay hidden in the shadows. Above them, the cavern throbbed. The darkness writhed, waiting for them to falter, to question if there truly was a way out. And just like that, a new whisper emerged, louder than before. "This is only the beginning." The light pulsed around them, a flickering flame struggling against the overwhelming shadows. For a moment, Sarah felt its warmth and believed, truly believed, that they might have escaped. But then the darkness shifted, dark tendrils curling closer, whispering and suffocating. Mama Mia's voice trembled, breaking through the reminded joy of safety. "We have to keep moving," Sarah urged, forcing her feet forward. Each step felt like wading through molasses, drawing them deeper into the folds of sinister night. "Mama!" Ben cried, panic straining his voice. "What if it's coming back?" She forced herself to look at their faces, pale, wide-eyed. Her heart tightened. "We can't think about that. Just keep your eyes on the light." But the glow felt like a promise now, a fragile hope threatened by the creeping darkness. Echoes of laughter rang all around them, mocking their fight, as if the shadows were alive, breathing and plotting. Sarah could hear the whispers more clearly now, wrapping around her thoughts like vines, squeezing tighter. "You're all alone, they're not here to save you, join us and know." Sarah screamed, but even her voice felt small, lost in the sea of darkness. She could see it now, the lights weren't guiding them away, they were leading them deeper into the void. She gripped Mia and Ben's hands tighter. We'll find another way. Suddenly, the light brightened, illuminating a path forward that hadn't been there a moment before. Sarah's breath hitched. Was this real? Was this the escape they had longed for, or another trap set by the malicious force pursuing them? The tension in her gut tightened. With a surge of determination, Sarah propelled her children forward. They ran, the sound of their feet echoing against the cavern walls like battle drums. The shadows shrieked angrily, their cries resonating through the air, threatening to drown out her resolve. A sharp jerk pulled Sarah to a halt. The ground trembled beneath her as cracks spidered along the floor, dark chasms gaping wide. Doom seemed to whisper from those depths. Frantically, she looked around, searching for another option. We must climb. They scrambled upwards, the sides slick with moisture, as the sinister darkness roiled below like a living thing. Sarah's breath came in gasps. Mia was slipping. Mama! Mia yelped, her grip faltering. No, no! Sarah shouted, lunging to seize Mia's hand. The sense of vertigo threatened to overwhelm her, each heartbeat painfully resonating in her ears. From the depths, a low growl rumbled, resonating with unease. The shadows surged, a thick inky mass wrapping around their feet. The darkness now appeared to take a physical form, twisted and contorted. It reached for them, hungry and relentless. Hold on! Ben shouted, determination fueling his small voice. I am, Sarah replied, heart racing, adrenaline pumping. They couldn't give in, not now. The unity of her children's voices grounded her, pulling her back from the edge of despair. They clambered higher, the shadows growling, furious at their defiance. It echoed in their ears, vibrating like a warning bell. Then the whispers turned into screams, a cacophony of tortured souls clawing from the depths. Join us! It roared, pushing against them. Then it all stopped. Silence fell. Not a whisper. Not a breath. What is happening? Mia quivered, eyes wide, scanning the void. Then, from behind them, footsteps echoed. Powerful, heavy, closing in fast. Heart pounding, Sarah spun around but saw only darkness, swirling and hissing. The idol of shadows had returned, something far worse than they could ever imagine. Get ready! She bellowed, adrenaline flooding her veins. They would not succumb. Not today! But behind the echoes, a voice broke through, unnatural and chilling. Your battle isn't over, not by a long shot. Before she could process the words, a blinding glare split the darkness, revealing the sharpened teeth of the abyss lurking beneath the ground. The unseen presence loomed over them, drawing closer as the ground trembled violently once again, and Sarah knew they had not escaped the clutches of despair. They were merely puppets in a greater game, a game that was far from finished. What do we do now? Ben whimpered, terror imprinted on his features. The answer lingered just outside her grasp. They could feel it, creeping closer. Together! Sarah shouted fiercely, standing tall against the void closing in. But as the shadows inched forward, the clutches of fear tightened even more. Would they withstand what was about to emerge from the dark? The world around them spun, shifting in ways that made her dizzy. And the whispers returned, now louder than ever, you can't escape what you've become. In that moment, what lied in wait became clearer, a choice they would soon have to confront. What dread lay ahead, in this game for their very souls? The violence of shadows crescendoed around them, a whirlwind of despair clawing desperately at Sarah, Mia, and Ben, entrapment tightening like a noose. The whispers, they weren't mere echoes of the past anymore. They were a haunting presence ready to consume them whole. Standing side by side, heartbeats interwoven, Sarah felt a force stronger than fear fueling her. They needed to choose. Together. Mama, Mia's voice quavered, yet there was strength behind her fear. What do we do? We can't let it take us. We fight. Sarah's voice was raw, trembling with a fierce determination. Together. We want to let it win. The darkness roared, swirling around their ankles like a living thing trying to drag them back into the abyss. With a swift and resolute motion, Sarah encircled her arms around her children, pulling them closer. The warmth of their small bodies ignited a fire within her chest. Their bond was aglow against the oppressive weight of dread. "Think of home," she encouraged, desperate to drown out the insidious entreaties ringing through the cavern. "Think of our laughter, the sun on our faces, and the warmth of our love." Mia's grip tightened, and Ben squeezed his tiny eyes shut, focusing on her voice. "We are a family," Sarah continued, her words solid like a shield against the encroaching dark. The shadows shrieked, retreating slightly, disoriented by their refusal to succumb. But then, just as hope flickered, the ground shook violently, sending shards of darkness scuttling like spiders. The creature's snarls slithered around them, angry and ravenous. "You think love can save you?" it mocked, vast and terrible, eyes aflame with sinister delight. "Maybe it can," she cried, her voice echoing in defiance. "We have the light it fears." Light. In that moment, a memory flashed, an image of the sun breaking through the clouds, illuminating a world scrubbed clean by laughter and love. With a fierce shout, Sarah focused all her energy into that thought, visualizing it as a fortress against the despair. A surge of warmth erupted from where her heart beat strong, and she felt it radiate outward, filling the space around them. The shadows recoiled, twisting back as if scorched by invisible flames. The cracked cavern walls shimmered, dim but present, as if revived by newfound hope. "Together!" Sarah cried again, and this time, her children echoed her voice in a chorus of belief. "Together!" The radiant warmth intensified, glimmering like sunlight breaking through overcast skies. The shadows hissed, fighting back against the encroaching light. It was a battle of wills, and the cavern trembled under the pressure as Sarah, Mia, and Ben pushed forward, summoning everything they held dear into that radiant force. With each step, the light expanded, washing away layers of darkness that had held them captive for so long. "Let us go!" Sarah shouted at the creature, which twisted and snarled, spitting out darkness like a whirlwind. The shadows writhed, angry and desperate, revealing behind them faces of lost memories, faded and sorrowful, reaching out as if to trap her in eternal regret. But under the fierce entanglement of their united resolve, the faces of despair began to fade, fading into the encroaching light. Panic clawed at the creature as the bond that held them began to shine brighter, illuminating the cavern, breaking the spell of darkness that sought to drown them all. "Not today!" Ben shouted loudly, his voice like a beacon cutting through despair. "We are stronger than you." In that instant, the shadows bulged grotesquely, as if imploding under the intensity of their light, twisting and howling in a chorus of rage. But Sarah felt no fear now. They were together, fighting for their lives. With a final thrust of their unified power, they charged toward the pulsating light. Suddenly, with a surge of force, the darkness shattered. A deafening roar echoed as the creature howled, struggling against a wave it could not withstand. The cavern erupted, collapsing around them as light flooded its darkened depths. In that brilliant moment, Sarah wrapped her arms tighter around her children, relishing the warmth blooming in her chest, as freedom spilled through the chaos. And then, all at once, the darkness dissolved, collapsing like a house of cards, pouring into the soil as light shimmered higher and brighter. Clutched in the embrace of the unsullied light, Sarah held tightly onto Mia and Ben as they ascended like feathers caught in the breeze. As they burst free from the twisted realm of shadows, breathtaking blue skies greeted them, the sun radiating warmth. The world stood alive once more, brimming with color. Trees rustled in the gentle wind, the air sweet with the scent of freedom. As Sarah fell to her knees, breathless but relieved, her arms encircled around Mia and Ben, lifting them into a tight embrace. "We made it!" Mia exclaimed, delight coloring her tone as her laughter danced through the air, followed closely by Ben. Tears trickled down Sarah's cheeks, a mixture of relief and love coursing through her heart. "Yes, we did!" Yet as the warmth of the sun embraced them, whispers lingered just beyond the edges of their newfound happiness, a reminder of the shadows they had triumphed over, the secrets still haunting the cracked stones of Harlow State Penitentiary. Life would never be the same, but together, they could face whatever lay ahead. The past remained behind them, and the whispers of despair lost their hold as they basked in the light, the new day unfolding like an unbroken promise. Now, driven by fierce resolve, Sarah stood firm with her children by her side, ready for whatever the world would bring. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger together, forever looking toward the future. And just then, in the serenity that followed chaos, a pulse of urgency crept into the air. This journey was just the beginning. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Make your thoughts heard. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending, and instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to show your support. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions.